Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So as you can see, today I'm going to talk about the popularizing of the TRIPS flexibilities in Middle East and North African countries for a better access to ARVs. So just a brief overview on this presentation. We will see first how TRIPS flexibilities can overcome patents on medicines and barriers to improve access. We're going to see why TRIPS flexibility are unfortunately underused in the MENA region, and how can MENA countries push for more frequent use of these flexibilities. So just maybe for the recall, TRIPS flexibilities were established by WTO in 1995, and they have been reaffirmed in 2021 through the Doha Declaration in Qatar after a big pressure from civil society. The purpose of these flexibilities is to allow countries to, as I said, overcome patent barriers and protection to ensure access. So the thing is that TRIPS flexibility were designed for the southern countries, and there is no reason for a region like Middle East and North Africa and other southern regions to not use them. Especially when we know the context in Middle East and North Africa. When we see the last report of UNAIDS, there is up to 220,000 people living with HIV in the region. And unfortunately, 50% of these persons don't have access or don't take ARVs in general. So what we see also in the region is that there is a very limited therapeutical options for treatments. And in countries, you can have one or two therapeutical options available. Others, treatments are not procured since like 2 years or more. For example, in my country, in Morocco, we have very limited therapeutical options. And despite this situation, TRIPS flexibilities are not used, except maybe for Egypt, and we'll see that this right after. So in order to understand why these flexibilities are not used in the region, we implemented a study, a comparative study in the MENA region to try to assess the law in this country and how they allow the use of these flexibilities or not. And we realized that in many countries, the legal or legislative framework is blocking this use of flexibilities. It's either too complex, too thick, or not clear. So no one knows how to implement these flexibilities, and patients suffer from this. We also noticed that the lack of awareness is also a big problem from civil society, because it's a very complicated and technical topic, from Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Health, which is a bit shaming because they need to be aware of these flexibilities and push for using them. And also local manufacturers, they are not really familiar with these flexibilities, and they think since we never implement them in the country, it's too complicated, let's just find other ways. So in ITPC MENA, we are implementing the Solidarity Project funded by UNITAID, and it aims to promote the use of TRIPS flexibilities in 24 countries exactly. So when we implemented this project in Morocco, as I said, we quickly noticed no one knew about these flexibilities, what were they for, and how to use them. We launched an awareness campaign to popularize these flexibilities at the regional level, but also national level, through a lot of meetings, community advisory board, media campaign, regional training for patent officer also, etc. So our approach was to first do a study to assess the use of TRIPS flexibilities in the region. Then we did national and regional campaign, as I just said. We did a market and patent intelligence on ARVs in Morocco to try to see which drugs are problematic and are not available, and maybe try after to do some interventions, such as compulsory licenses. And then we went on another level by testing these TRIPS flexibilities in Morocco. As I said, no one implemented them before, and we did the first patent opposition on COVID-19 drugs, which is baricitinib, then on HIV medicine. So for the first time in Morocco, we had the 2 patent opposition on medicines. Drafting a proposal is really important also because when you try to implement TRIPS flexibilities, you notice that, as I said, it's really complicated and complex. So you need to streamline the law and make it and facilitate the use of these flexibilities. So drafting a proposal and proposing some changes is really important as well. So just to summarize, our main achievement in Morocco for the moment were that the local manufacturer joined our fight because they have interest in producing locally. Ministry of Health is joining our study to try to see where it's blocking in terms of procurement and see if we can launch a compulsory license. And as I said, we launched 2 patent oppositions on HIV and COVID-19 drugs. Thank you. So briefly, the next steps is to issue this compulsory license finally in Morocco. It won't be easy, but it's going to happen sooner or later, and issue more patent opposition as well. Push for a law amendment, and when we say law amendment, it can look scary, but it's just few sentences you change in the law to make it more pertinent. So we already drafted it, and we're going to expose it very soon to parliamentarians. And another next step is to share ITPC MENA experience to support other countries from the region to use these flexibilities. In conclusion, I might say that implementing TRIPS flexibilities and integrating them as a common practice at the national level is the most efficient way for MENA countries to achieve sustainable access. As Othman said before, voluntary licenses is not the solution, it's just temporary, and the solution are TRIPS flexibilities. To accomplish that, it's primordial to first test the mechanisms that are already in place in the country, even though it's complicated, even though it's hard. Just go for it. If you win, then good for you. If it's too much complicated and you can't implement the TRIPS flexibility, then at least you can say, look, we've tried to implement them, it's too complicated, the law is not clear, we need to make amendment, and then the responsible person will follow you on that. And ITPC MENA is committed to assist any country in the Middle East and North Africa through this process. And thank you.
Thank you so much.